on certain days. Any officers that had anything to do with it, they have to testify. So it just depends on how many people are involved in your case. That's what makes trial take so long, because there's so many people that have to be interviewed. They have to, deposition. They have to be put on the stands to testify. You have to be cross-examined. So that's what draws trials out, depending on how many people the state have listed as a witness and how many the defense has listed as a witness and how much evidence you have against you.
So
Mine was cut and dry.
You said at first that he was going hard. He or she, was it a he or she, the public defender?
I had two. So one was a male and one was a female.
You said at first they was going hard in the paint for you. And then what happened?
They did. So after day 1, day 2 of my trial, right? So we go through and everybody's giving their testimonies. Everybody's testified. The officers, like even the head guy, because he was a black guy, he had to get up there and he had to testify. They violated me in so many ways. For one, they said that they pulled me over because I was speeding. I was never notified that I was speeding. I didn't know why they pulled me over for speeding until I seen my discovery. They didn't ask me for my driver license. They didn't tell me why they pulled me over. Nothing about that was a traffic stop. So that was the probable cause for pulling me over. And on top of that, they said they determined I was speeding because an officer in an unmarked civilian car paced me. So he was basically driving alongside me and paced me and said that's what determined that I was speeding. There was no radar gun. There was nothing. And then I still didn't receive a speeding ticket. I didn't receive a warning, anything about a traffic stop. Nothing at all. And then with when they searched me against my will. I didn't know they searched me against my will. They didn't read me my rights. So it was a lot of things that happened that they violated my rights. And all this was brought up during the trial. And the head of the task force, when he got on stance, and they were like, what information do you have about her? Basically, like, what part does she plays? And he got on there and he said, like, we didn't know who she was. Like, we never seen her until the day we pulled them over. Even in my discovery, it has me listed as a black female. It doesn't even have my name until I got booked in, because they knew nothing about me. So my trial went very well because it had nothing to do with me. So after all testimonies was given, case closed, the jury is in the back deliberating.
What was the jury comprised of? Was it like majority black people, male, female? What was that like?
My jury was what you think my jury comprised of?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
But the only reason I say that is because, listen, when I'm watching TV, right, I gotta go by the TV. That's all I know, right? When I'm watching TV, the jury selection process, the participation is both from the defense and from the prosecutor, right? And so I would think that naturally your defense would eliminate to make it more or less a jury of your peers, right? And that's what happened. I'm guessing that's not what happened.
When it comes to jury selection, I feel like the way they have it is just the dumbest thing in the world. So you have all these people, you come in and you ask them questions, right? And
are you sitting there during the question? Okay.
So you come in and you have all these people sitting up, and then you have the prosecutor and the defense asking, like, how do you feel about people in the military, or how do you feel like you just ask them a bunch of questions, and if the state feels like they're answering too much against, defund the police, they get eliminated. And if the defense feels like they're too pro police, they're getting eliminated. And then you have the defense and the state have 3 strikes. So even if you like, I love these 3 right here, the state gonna strike all 3 of the ones that you probably love. And when the state's like, oh, I love these right here, you're gonna end up striking it. So it's just like the whole jury selection process is just like, it's crazy. So I don't really see the purpose in it.
How long did it take for them to come back with a conviction? And what were you convicted for?
Okay, so they go back there and they deliberate. So I'm in jail at this time. Now, going through trial, if you're incarcerated while you're going through trial, they let somebody bring you plain clothes so that they feel like it's a bias. If the jury sees you already in jail clothes, it's like, oh, well, you're in jail, you're guilty. So I got regular clothes on, but they take me in the back. So I'm in the cell. And from when I picked my jury from both days of my trial, like when I'm in the holding cell, like all I did was like I talked to God, you know, and I had peace going through the whole situation. And I'm just like talking to God, and I'm like, you know, like God, it's up to you now. You know, it's in your hands. Like not my will, your will. So my attorney comes back there, and she was like, the state wants to put the 7 years back on the table.
So
Mind you,
you feeling better about it then?
yes, because the state, if your case was like hook, line, and sinker, you wouldn't come give me an offer because you know when I lose trial, I'm going to get more than your offer. So my attorney comes back and she's like, the state want to put the offer back on the table 7 years. It was like, if you sign for the 7 years right now, like, you know, we'll do away with the jury, the trial and everything. Like, you know, you can just sign for the 7. So I was like, now I'm looking at my attorney like, why would you even come? You know what I'm saying? Even if you gonna come try to bring me an offer, if the state said that, why didn't you try to combat them? Okay, well, if you want me to take her 7 years in prison, why can't you give her this on probation? Or why? You know what I'm saying? Because you know their case is weak. You should know because you're an attorney, so you know the type of games that get played. So she's like, they want to offer you put off. So I'm like, no. Like I was like, no. Like we here now. So she's like, you know, she was like, she kept trying to push for that offer. And I was like, no, I was like, I don't want to sign it. I was like, we're here now. I'm not signing for 7 years. So then, mind you, all testimony has concluded. The jury is deliberating. So my attorney comes and she's like, okay, well, the state wants to pull the jury back out and they want to play the footage in the car with you and your co-defendant. So I'm looking at her like,
oh, when y'all got back and y'all was sitting in there together.
yes.
This
So
is crazy.
so
This is
I'm
like a movie, yo.
Right. So I'm like, I was like, no, because my defense, I know for a fact that that video footage in the backseat of the police car with my co-defendant negates my entire defense. I know that. And I don't have a legal degree. So she's asking me that. And I'm like, no. I was like, why would we do that? And she's like, you know, she's like, it paints you in a good light, and you know it shows that you're young and like the influence that he has over you because he's older, and like they study going in, and it's like now I am such a big person on my intuition and how I feel about stuff, because the whole time these people, like, I'm a hard no, this is not happening, but the more the devil keeps talking, my spirit is like, well, maybe, you know, maybe she's telling the truth, like maybe she's right, maybe she knows, you know, these type of things, like maybe I should trust her, because I had so much, like this whole time I was at peace, because it's like when your life is outside of your hands, like you can't do nothing but have peace with it. So now all this confusion and all this like negativity and stuff is rolling up inside of me, and she's like, study, like, yeah, it's good for you, like you should do this, you should do that. If the state asks you to give me an offer and I'm refusing it, and then you tell me the state wants to pull the jury out and show a video, it's in the state's favor.
Yeah, because why would the state ask for that if it's not in their favor? Why would they do something that's not in their own best interest?
Exactly. Why would they do? I mean,
that's just basic
common sense, right? You don't need a law degree for that. So she's studying. I'm like, no, like I'm telling. As a matter of fact, it was my male public defender. So I'm telling him, I'm like, no, like, So he keeps like, well, you should do it. And he just keeps giving me. So I've told this man no probably 1,000 times. And he just keeps telling, he's like, I'm telling you, it's in your best interest, blah, blah, blah. So I finally say, I was like, okay, all right. Because this man convinced me that this was in my best interest. Don't you do it
like it didn't, like whatever happened didn't already happen. But go ahead, I'm listening.
He convinced me like it was in my best interest. So I'm like, okay, so they bring the jury out. Everybody comes out and I'm sitting there, and then they put this footage up on the big screen, and like as it's playing, like everything in me just drops. It's like, I'm going to prison.
You felt like you was going to prison
while it was playing, and I hear myself and him in the backseat of that car. I'm like, I'm going to prison.